Why don't we quickly go through this Batman article here? Did you see this today? Batman producer is saying that they're trying to beat the Dark Knight trilogy by Christopher Nolan, that they're trying to outdo it.
They should be trying to, do better than that. That should be the intention with making another iteration on a property, to make something that's better, right?
Oh, no, I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you. Except a lot of people out there are just like, nuh-uh, you can't beat the Dark Knight trilogy. I'm like,
Yes, you
well,
can.
you totally can. I mean, the Dark Knight Rises, I'm like, is not the best movie. Like
It's not
movie,
great.
that movie had so much going into it. You want to talk about memes? All right, you think that you embarrass me in front of Vanessa shit is a meme, dude?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. That everything with Bane is a meme, but I will say this though, the memeing of that movie, which is now like almost 10 years old, by the way. The memeing of that movie has kind of become more of an endearing part of it, at least in regards to Bane, because people out there really, really like Bane,
Yeah.
you know? So it's like,
But he's a meme.
but he is a meme, but he is a meme. I mean, even the Harley Quinn animated show took the voice.
Oh, look
And
at me. I'm a bad impression of this character that everyone's done at least once in their life.
well, yeah, who doesn't like doing Bane voice? Welcome, everyone. This is Hollywood After Dark, your one-stop shop for all things villainy.
Jesus Christ.
You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it.
Bane
You know?
impressions are. I'm so burned out on Bane.
I love Bane impressions,
I
man.
hate
Like,
them.
I love them. I love them so much. I love the Bane voice. Like, if you ever just want to make me laugh, that's do a Bane voice. I'll laugh.
I want a
I
fucking.
just
I want a Bane that actually talks like Bane. You know?
You don't want him to talk about whacking it in a tool shed.
Oh my god, no, I don't. I don't. I don't. I don't want to hear him like just make a bunch of sounds like raw. I don't want to hear that shit either.
I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay with that. That'd be great.
No. I want him to sound like charismatic. Like Bane's intelligent. Like really intelligent. He should
Bane was
sound
really intelligent and in the movie.
what, in Dark Knight Rises?
Yeah.
He was
It was
decently intelligent.
it was Talia al Ghul that was fucking terrible.
There was nothing about his character that like really like made me think, oh yeah, this guy's a total fucking genius. Like I feel like he won in the places where he won. It never felt like anything more to me than just, oh yeah, the script says so, which I know that's always like how it is, but like I like to have like the suspension of disbelief that I'm actually in a world, and I don't really think that The Dark Knight Rises did a good job at engrossing you in the world. I feel like it was kind of a
No,
cheap ending.
it did not. In my opinion, it did not do that. And that's honest to God, like why all these years later, it's been nearly a decade. I've seen it one time, and I have not felt the need to go back to it.
Now, and here's the fucking thing. There's a possibility that this movie that's coming out, The Batman, might not be as good as The Dark Knight, but I think that it probably likely will be at least better than fucking Batman Begins, because that's not a very high fucking bar. I don't hate the movie, but
Wait, whoa! Oh, hold on.
it's totally inconsistent with the movie that came after it.
Well, it's not. It's also the first time he just like. I mean, like he was figuring it out, man.
But like no one who actually goes back and talks about Batman Begins. It didn't
No, I
really have
mean,
a
no. The
massive
Dark Knight,
cultural
it set
impact.
the bar. The Dark Knight set the bar.
The
All
Dark
right.
Knight is what everyone talks about.
Yeah,
And
but Batman Begins is a solid movie that absolutely is rewatchable. It absolutely sets up what's to come in regards to like the tone of it all. Because the tone is like, look, as Batman became a greater threat to the criminality of Gotham, a villain needed to rise to meet that threat. And that's what the Joker was. The Joker was chaos incarnate. And that was the whole point. Like Heath Ledger, his performance knocked it out of the park 100%. But it didn't invalidate Begins. But I do think that that The Dark Knight Rises could probably never actually compare with it.
no, wait, yeah, no, both of those movies pale in comparison to The Dark Knight, and for good reason. I don't think the film's overrated or anything. I think it's fucking great, and it deserves the praise it gets. I almost feel like it's like the hipster opinion these days to say, oh yeah, no, the Dark Knight's not that great, but if you actually go back and watch it, it kicks ass. Like it's a really good fucking movie.
Oh, it's a great film. I mean, it's a great movie. Like I like the trilogy. I love Nolan, but I feel like during that time frame of 2005 to 2012, right when he did Batman Begins, he did that one with that Mad Magician one, with Hugh Jackman and Michael Caine and Christian Bale. Not The Illusionist. That was Paul, or that was Edward Norton, I think. The Prestige. It was The Prestige. He did The Prestige, which was fucking excellent. Then he did The Dark Knight. Then he did Inception, which was like legit. I love Inception. And then he did The Dark Knight Rises. And ever since The Dark Knight Rises, I feel like his filmography is just kind of like tapped out a little bit, right? So you look at, let's say, Inception, or not Inception, Interstellar. Interstellar had a solid 2/3. The first 2/3 of that movie were fucking amazing. I mean, 2014, holy shit. That right there should have been the best thing I've ever seen. The last act of that movie was god awful. It was just god awful. It went full Stanley Kubrick 2001. It just didn't make any fucking sense. Like, I mean, the fact that like he was the ghost that haunted his daughter when she was a child. The fuck? You know what I mean? And then you get to he did that one, and then he did Dunkirk. Was that the next one after that he did?
No, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen Dunkirk because it just didn't interest me. I heard Nolan World War II, and I'm like, fuck yeah. And then it's all like Nolan World War II, a bunch of British guys stranded on a beach. Well, fuck. You know, like, and I know that's not the story. It's just that's how I framed it in my mind, and it didn't get me. And then I haven't seen Tenet yet, because Tenet, like, I just heard nothing but bad things about. You know, like no one was like, you know, technically, on a technical level, Tenet apparently is amazing. But on a you know, on like a storytelling level, apparently it's not very good.
I do just want to clarify, by the way, I don't dislike Batman Begins. I like it. I just don't think it's I don't think it's as solid as The Dark Knight by a sizable margin. I do think that there are some tonal inconsistencies there, which kind of bother me. I just don't like people put the entire trilogy on a pedestal, and that kind of fucking bothers me. Because I feel like people kind of just do that because it was so much better than what came before it. And I get that. It was such a breath of fresh air. But it doesn't mean that we can't get a Batman film that's better. And I do think that there is a decent chance that this Batman film could be better than at least Batman Begins and The Dark Knight Rises. It's going to be really hard to pass The Dark Knight.
It is going to be hard to pass The Dark Knight because that's going to be the bar everyone holds it to. And I'm telling you right now, I really think that a Ben Affleck Batman movie would have come up to that bar in a different way. But just looking at the response to Ben Affleck's Batman and BVS, and then the actual like Snyder cut, people really wanted more of that. And I think that would have gone a long way to kind of like reestablish the character of Batman and like this, maybe not so much like super serial sort of way. But anyway, this article here talks a bit about that. When talking about, interviewing Matt Reeves, right, about why he wants to do the Batman, he says here, we've seen a lot of great stories about Bruce Wayne witnessing his parents' murder and then trying to find ways to cope with that by perfecting himself into Batman. But I wanted to do a story where he's already been through the origins and does not yet really know exactly how to be Batman. It's a year 2 story. And I wanted to connect him not only as Bruce, but as Batman. And then, asks here, could they outdo the Dark Knight trilogy? And I think, look, that was one of the things with with Christian Bale's movies, or the Nolan trilogy is, Bale went into being Batman and he never once looked back. He never questioned it really. He was all in from the beginning, and he never really like played into the psychological part of it as a character.
True.
And like as kind of like juxtaposing the Bruce Wayne versus the Bruce Wayne versus everything else.
It should take the character a while to where he's just thinking himself as Batman. Like it should, there should be like a time frame where he's like conflicted about the whole situation. I do think that makes sense. When we have an old ass Batman, then he can be like thinking himself in Batman's in his head and shit like that.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, and then apparently here all right. So okay, so Clark, all right, so this is a producer, Dylan Clark, has told this to Chris Nolan. Said this directly. Says, "Look, we're trying to be the best Batman ever made, and we're going to try to beat you." He said he said that to fucking Nolan himself.
Damn, that's
Imagine
ballsy.
imagine going up to like James Cameron and saying like, "We're gonna make a better Smurfs movie than you, buddy."
You use that example of any?
I could have said a Terminator film, but we already spent a lot of time talking about Terminator, and I want to talk about a blue alien race on another planet. So I thought about the Smurfs.
Oh.
So there's haha. Or we're gonna do a better bottom of the ocean movie than you, or we're gonna do a better action spy comedy movie, which would be True Lies, which is dope. I don't know. Look, either way, when you look at it like this, when you think about this, if they're gonna beat out, if they're gonna beat out the Dark Knight trilogy, they got a lot to do.
Yes.
However, what I think is gonna make this movie hit, I think, because we're in a different space societally speaking than we were when the Dark Knight trilogy came out.
True.
Right? I think that this is going to sound really fucking weird, but I kind of stand by this. I think that if Robert Pattinson like just beats the shit out of so many fucking people, it's going to be cathartic for people in that theater. I know that sounds weird, but it's like you're going to be able, because there's a lot of rage out there that people have, right? Look, the last couple years have sucked. We're all been kind of, like dealing with a lot of shit. And people are going to be able to, I think that's one of the reasons why No Way Home is as popular as it is. Sure. It's not because of what's in the movie, but it's also the way that it makes you feel. It makes you feel good, right? You feel good about what you saw watching that movie because it brings
also
back,
remember a simpler time. Yeah.
True. The member berries are hardcore, right? They're just, they're injected right into your vein. And so the member berries are all there. And I think with this case, like, it's going to be one of those things where you're just going to watch Batman just go like, "I am rage," or "I am vengeance," with that line. And he's just going to like tear through a shit ton of people.
You saw that trailer. That's the best part of the trailer in a lot of people's minds.
Oh yeah. Bop, 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 bop. "Who are you?" "I am vengeance." And like, oh fuck, dude. He's going to fuck him up. And it's going to be something that a lot of people I think are really going to get into. So, it's kind of like, again, sometimes, as weird as it is to say, with our culture, catharsis comes through many different ways, and violence is one of them. And I say this because if you go back and you look at the Colosseum, right? Why were the gladiatorial games a thing? It was generally because people came out to watch the violence without engaging in it themselves. It was a way, the games were a way to lift morale with the people. The games were a way to also do away with your dissidents, by throwing those pesky Christians to all them lions. But it gave people something to root for, and that's one of the reasons why I think football and sports are as prevalent as they are in our society, because it gives people someone to, how many fucking people wrap their entire goddamn identity into a sports team?
I know, right?
Right. It's all about catharsis. When your team wins, you feel like you've won. When your team loses, you feel like you didn't wear your underwear inside out that day, and obviously is what caused them to
because
fumble.
I was sitting in the wrong room.
Oh no! I peed standing up. I peed sitting down.
I was supposed to pee standing sideways. Yeah.
Oh no! I fucked up. I'm so sorry. That kind of shit. That's the kind of way, like, that's kind of the way we are. So I feel like this movie could potentially very much be the catharsis on that dark side of things that we need.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm wrong in thinking that. Maybe I'm psychologically damaged, psychologically broken, which I most likely am. So there's that.